Hey everyone, welcome back to Drive Protected. My name is Eric. Today's episode, we're going to be going over how to do a hybrid PPF template install on the front driver's side fender of this Tesla Model Y 2026 in Quicksilver paint color. We're going to be using our Defense Plus matte paint protection film. And when I say hybrid PPF template, I mean I took the regular standard PPF template that we got from our cutting software, which for this we use Core. And what I ended up doing was I ended up taking and adding 1 inch of material all the way around. What this is going to do is it's going to help give me a little bit more material to really stretch the PPF into place and get maximum coverage along this front leading edge. We can get maximum coverage around this corner. We can stretch the PPF past so it fully wraps, and then we can even wrap and tuck the film underneath on top of the headlight over here. So enough of me talking, let's get into it. Okay, so we got our pattern right here, we got our slip solution, we got our tack solution, and we got our squeegee. So we're gonna spray the fender down with our slip solution. There we go. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take my squeegee, I'm gonna create a dry spot right over here at the front. What this is going to do is it's going to help give me a place where I can tack the PPF onto so I can back roll it in place. So just like that. With one hand, we're just going to pull the liner out as we roll the film into place. And there we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the film back. And get a bunch of slip solution underneath the film. Perfect. There we go. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of getting the film to lay down roughly where I want it. It's going to, by doing so, there's just less stretch that's going to be involved, less moving of the film around, and that type of thing. So now that we've got that done, let's start our install. So for an install like this on fenders, they are designed to be installed from the back of the fender, stretch forward. Now, because I added an extra inch of material all the way around, there's less stretch that's going to be required. So what I'm going to do is just going to line this up over here so I have roughly the same amount of overhang. And then I'm just going to kind of pull the PPF so it wraps around that corner 100%. There we go. So you can see that I got a little bit of tension on the film, so it's starting to take the shape of that corner, which those corners are typically pretty hard to wrap. So you need that extra material just to pull that into place. Now we'll do the same thing over here. Just stretch it past, hold it in place with my thumb, and then I'm just going to come in with my squeegee, and we're going to squeegee that down. Okay, so that's down, that's good. Now we can start working our way down, but for that, I'm just going to sit down. I'm going to get my slip solution over here as well too. There we go, got more slip More slip under the film. As you can see, I popped out the side camera. This is gonna allow me to get maximum coverage in there for a nice clean installation. So I'm just spraying with some tack solution down on the bottom of the fender over here. And then I got that down, locked into place. We're good to go. And I can come up here and I can just start squeegeeing down right over here, right around this area where the side camera is gonna go. I can just squeegee that all into place. Body lines like this, they are traps for moisture, so you always want to be very mindful that you're being very thorough and having good, decent pressure with your squeegee over those body lines. This area right here, I'm going to leave that for last. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to let the adhesive of the PPF start to kind of bite itself into place and bond to the paint. And then later when I come in, I'm going to make a small little hole over here with my knife, spray my tack solution in from over here, and then get that area down. So let's get the rest of the fender installed and then we'll come to that. What I'm going to do now is I'm just lifting up and spraying more slip solution under the film. One thing that I cannot be more clear about is just how much slip solution is needed when doing a PPF installation. If you're going to be gliding the film into place, it's got to glide. And as you can see right over here, we have a bit of a sticking point. So I'm going to lift the film up, pop that back, and I lifted that up over there, so that's not good. But I can quickly get that tacked down. And there we go. Got our tack solution underneath the film. Got it pulled around that corner. That's perfect. Now, before I do anything, because I know I've got enough slip solution under the film, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift the film up here. I'm going to spray some tack solution right there. And what I'm going to do with my one hand, I'm going to grab the film over here so I can kind of stretch it. And with this hand, I'm gripping the PPF. I'm going to pull it past. I'm going to pull it past the very front there. And then I'm just going to hook it around the corner. And then I'm just going to let go. Oh, that didn't work the way I wanted it to. Let's try this again. So we'll pull the film past, hook it around, and then as the film starts to pull itself into place, it's automatically gonna hook itself right around this corner. And that's how you get maximum coverage on a very sharp corner. See, even though I lifted this up here and the film pulled itself into place, it's not doing anything here. So the film is actually taking the shape of the panel. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to get more slip solution under the film. And you can see, just based on tension, I haven't even squeegeed that down. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lock that corner down with my squeegee, and that's going to be down for good. What I'm going to do now is we got this big giant air pocket here. I'm just going to lift the film up. I'm going to take the palm of my hand and we're just going to pull this air down and out. Because of how much tension is on across the front of the fender over here, it obviously kind of pushed itself out the side, but there we go. If you're new to the channel here and you're wondering what I'm using for slip solution, I don't really talk about my ratios all that much because temperature and humidity do more for slip solution ratios than anything. I can tell you what I'm using in Canada, but if you're in southern Florida, what I'm using is not going to work for you. But I did go with a little bit less soap in my pressurized sprayer, and I'm kind of regretting it because it kind of feels a little bit tacky. So we're gonna make it work though. We're not gonna have any sticking marks. Before I start squeegeeing down, the aim of having all this extra material is so I can get maximum coverage and get all these fingers to lay down flat, even that little guy right there. And there's no fingers to worry about over here. Now we're good to squeegee everything down. Enough of me talking. We're gonna start back here. We're gonna start right on this body line. I'm gonna have a good amount of pressure with my squeegee. As you can see, the squeegee's taking the shape of this body line. Now I'm gonna go from the back all the way to the front. Like I said earlier, body lines like this are notorious for being traps for moisture. Now I'm gonna break the panel into a couple sections. We'll worry about the top section now, and then we'll do everything else after that. So, because I have to pull all this down, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my squeegee at an angle, and we're just gonna overlap all of our squeegee strokes, and we're just gonna start pulling everything down and forward towards the very front of the fender. We're gonna lift the film up over here, and we're gonna allow all of this solution to come out the front there. Now we can take care of this area right over here on this ridge. So you'll see I'm using two hands, just making sure that I can get that down, that there's no solution trapped on that edge. There we go, that's good. Let's do this area over here. Same thing, we're just gonna have our squeegee angled downwards, so we're pulling the solution down, and let's come right out the front over here. There we go. We just got a little bit of film that's popping up right here. All I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna lift the film up, get some tack solution underneath it, and then we're just gonna squeegee that into place, get that all locked down. Now, before I do that, I'm gonna take care of a little bit across the front edge over here. You can see that we got some slip buildup over here. I'm just gonna lift the film up. I'm just gonna flush out my slip solution. Just like so. That's good, that's done. Let's take care of this area right over here. Like I said earlier, we're gonna make a small little hole right over here. This hole does not have to look good. You just need to get a place in there where you can get your solution. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take and fill this whole area up right over here with tack solution. There we go. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna try and I'm gonna take my thumb and I'm gonna press it down right between the door and the fender. And then just with the heat of my thumb, the PPF should kind of just stick into place. If I let go, yeah, it's not popping up. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my other thumb and then just very slowly, I'm gonna drag my thumb right along that valley towards the front there and push that film down. And then I'm gonna come in with my squeegee and then just follow that up with more pressure just to get that down. There we go. That's good. Now let's take care of this area. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do kind of the same thing right here. Just gonna take my thumb, actually actually take this thumb, just the heat of my thumb, just pushing that down, should be able to get that to take and sit down. And that's good. We'll do the same thing over here. There we go, that's all down. Now I can come in with my squeegee, I can squeegee anything down that may be left behind. And then I'm gonna come in with my squeegee right over here and just squeegee down around here in case there's any trapped moisture that's been left behind. And I think we got it all. So what I'm gonna do now is, now that I got that done, I'm gonna take my knife and I'm gonna do my final trim right over here. So we'll start at the top. Squealing is a beautiful sound. There we go. Now, I'm just gonna come in there. Should be able to peel that out quite nicely. So that's good. Now, before we take care of this edge, we're gonna get this area down right over here. So what I'm gonna do is, we're gonna pull the film back, flush the slip solution out with our tack solution. There we go, that's good. Then we can come over here just with my thumb. I'm just gonna get the front down. And then we'll come in with the squeegee. And we'll get the PPF wrapped right around that corner. You always want to be super mindful that you're getting all the moisture and the solution off that edge, which is why I'm kind of going at this in a sawing motion, just going side to side. And then I'm just going to run my thumb right along there, just kind of look for some moisture that's been left behind, and I think we're good. We got it all. Now, which edge do we deal with next? Let's do this inside door edge. So that lifted up right there around that corner, and that's fine. So what I'm going to do is, I'm gonna take my knife and I'm actually gonna start up at the very top here, and I'm gonna work my way around, come around that corner, and then I'll come off to the side over here. I think that should be good. Get the mirror out of the way. You can see I cut right through the film there because it wasn't even on the vehicle. That's good. Then I'm just going to leave that right there because I have not finished my cut up there. So now, this is where things get kind of interesting. I want roughly about 1/4 inch of a wrapped edge, which is basically going to be this entire gap. So what I need to do is I'm going to start right up over here by the very top, just very lightly, because the PPF is lifted up and it's not touching anything. I'm just going to get my blade through the film. I'm going to pull that down to the beginning of that cut right there. I'm going to drag my blade along the PPF right along that edge all the way to the bottom. nice and light with my blade pressure. I'm a little bit concerned that I am not even scoring the film because I've only heard a little bit of squealing from the blade. The squealing, if you're new to this channel, means that we are just cutting deep enough to kind of score the PPF so we can peel it away, or I'm cutting right into paint. We'll know real quickly when I pull this film back whether or not it's loose. And there we go. So big thing you want to do when you're peeling excess PPF away, don't pull it just straight down, because if you get to an area where you haven't had the right blade pressure, you could end up cutting right into the PPF that's you've already got down. So pull away from the panel. So that's what I'm going to do right now. There we go. Now I need to make that cut along that bottom edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come right over here. Just going to drag my knife all along the bottom. Just like so. That's good. Now, all right, so now when I start doing this trim, I want to start just past this body line over here. So I'm going to pull my blade out. Just going to drag it along right in between the panels there, the front bumper and the front fender. And we'll come down over here, and then I'm just going to come roughly about ½ an inch in. And we'll do our trim right over here. There we go. That's good. I'm just peeling away that excess material. There we go. Now we can do this front trim. So this front trim is going to be a little bit interesting because I want to make sure I got 100% coverage here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the inside by the fender. I'm going to follow the very bottom of that corner. Make sure I'm staying right underneath that lip, because of the tension that we used to stretch the PPF into place. The PPF has already kind of wrapped itself around that corner. Now we'll come up a little bit as we get near the bumper. And we'll make this corner here. And we'll line it up with our first cut. That's good. Now I should be able to just peel it away. There we go. That's good. Now we're going to do our trim over here. So I'm going to start right here. Here I don't have to worry about cutting any paint because I've got it peeled away. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my fingernail right here and I'm kind of running it along this edge. That's going to be my guide here. Oh, stop cutting through there. Now that I'm getting right over here, I'm gonna have to kind of wing it around this corner because the hood is propped open. So I'm gonna have to be really careful right here. Now just take and pinch it, come around that corner, and we'll join up right here. Now I should be able to just give that a bit of a tug. There we go. All that's left to do, flush out that edge with our tack solution. And that edge is ready to be wrapped and post heated. Same with that edge by the fender. So what I'm gonna do is we'll come right over here. Let's grab our heat gun. We'll turn that on. We'll use our glass drying towel. I'm actually gonna work on this top edge first. All I'm gonna do is just take the heat gun. I'm gonna heat the PPF up so it's nice and hot. And then I'm just gonna take my hand and I'm just gonna wrap that film around that corner. Now that I have that corner down, just gonna go over it one more time with some really good pressure to make sure that it's gonna stay down. Now we do have this little trim piece right here. Just gonna pull that back just so I can get the film behind there. Just get that corner nice and hot. Post heated. Now I'm going to sit down again. It's always best to be working as close to eye level as you possibly can. We'll start right over here and get the PPF down into place. Okay, I'm just going to get the PPF heated up in here and down. So one thing you'll notice is I'm putting a lot of heat on the film, and then I'm just following it up with my thumb and the towel just to get it down. Same with that edge. We'll take care of this section here first before we open up the door. That's perfect. Pop this door wide open. So what I'm going to do is start at the top and get this all nice and hot. And then I'm just going to start right here on the body line. I'm going to wrap the film around that corner. Now, because that film is nice and toasty from the heat gun, that edge is very easy to wrap. All I'm doing right now is I'm just getting it nice and hot to the point where the film starts to want to wrinkle. You can kind of see that. I know you guys can't really see anything I'm doing right now, but that back edge is down. Let's take care of the front edge, and then this video is done. So all I'm going to do is just heat this up, heat up this corner right here. Just get that film nice and hot. And then just come in with my thumb and get that wrapped. One thing you want to be doing when you're post heating is you always want to be looking at the film that you're heating up, because once it starts to wrinkle, that's your sign, or want to start to wrinkle, you'll notice, but that's your sign to kind of back off with the heat. Always want to keep that heat gun moving. Never want to keep that heat gun in one spot for too terribly long, or even at all, because you will run the risk of burning the PPF. And once you do that, you need to replace it. So that's going to conclude this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, let me know in the comments below. As always, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and stay tuned for more paint protection film content coming your way.